We're going to call the meeting to order. Please join us in our moment of silence. All right, now the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have a draft agenda. We have an administrative request to add certified staff recommendations to the agenda. So you'll see that on there's an amended version you should have, new business item 2. So to approve the agenda with certified staff recommendations, I would need to have a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I move.
Kelly? Support. Jake? All right, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you. We have a list of consent agenda action items tonight, 8 items on the list. I'll read them top to bottom. Approval of minutes from our July 10 meeting, presentation of bills in the amount of $13.2 million, board meeting schedule for the 23-24 school year, certified staff leave of absence, certified staff resignations, the FOIA appeal, our procedures document, and our fall coaches. Can I have a motion to approve our consent agenda items?
I move.
Kelly, support. Christy, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. New business item 1, PACE committee recommendations. Dr. Matthews?
Thank you, and I would ask Mindy Duba to come to the podium and she can explain this recommendation to the board.
Good evening, Board of Education. What we're asking for today is for you to approve one parent who has a child in the district who has a disability. That parent would participate on our Kennet ISD Parent Advisory Committee for Special Education. They meet multiple times throughout the school year on various different topics regarding special education. And in Rockford, we have 3 spots that we can have parents serve on, and so this would fill 2 of the 3 spots. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay. And we need a motion to approve the recommendation. Christy? Support with Nick. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. New business number 2, our certified staff recommendations.
And I will turn to Ms. Corey Wilson-Pratt.
First of all, thank you to the Board of Education for allowing me to put the certified staff recommendations on. We've been working hard to fill our last minute resignations, and so we had 8, and these are 7 of them. So you will get 1 more in our next meeting in September, but in front of you, you'll have 7 different recommendations. These are all for new staff members to join our team. You can see the positions that they'll be holding. There'll be 2 part-time teachers and then 5 full-time staff members that will be coming to join us. And most of them, with the exception of 1, have school district experience. So that's a great member to add late in August to join our pool of existing new staff. So we had new staff orientation a few days ago, and we had 36 people participate in that, and we'll add these 8 to that.
So we would ask that the board approve these new certified staff recommendations.
Okay, thank you. Motion to approve.
I approve.
Kelly, and support.
I'll support.
Jake, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Corey.
And I would like to express my appreciation to Ms. Wilson-Crawford. Her department has done a lot of work this summer, not quite as much as last summer, but still a lot of work this summer. And we feel very good about the teachers that we brought in. Mike Graham and Ms. Wilson-Crawford directed our new teacher orientation last week, and they did a great job. And the teachers are very excited to be here, and we have a nice mix of new and experienced teachers coming to the district. So we feel very good about the candidates that we have.
Awesome, thank you, appreciate it. And now we're into reports, item 1, MASB Summer Institute. Dr. Matthews?
Thank you, and I'll turn to Mr. Reichenbach.
Yeah, so 3 times a year they have conferences, the big one's coming up in November, but there's always one in the summer, and this year was in Macomb ISD. And for those who haven't been there in a while and grew up on that side of the state, M59 and Hall Road has changed a great deal. It's
And not for the
lanes
better.
wide. Yeah, I think that the attendance was so-so on Friday for the conference itself, which is a surprise because they put it in Macomb on purpose. But it was well attended Friday evening, and then the weekend there were, I would say, probably 150 people there getting trained. Now, the conference itself, it was a little different this year. It had 3 keynotes and a roundtable, and probably the most interesting for me was the district I grew up in, Dearborn. They had a seminar with 3 students. They had, they do a little bit different approach for student connection with the board and with each building. While we do a lot here, they just do it a little differently. And you know, they have 20,000 students. They have 47% are English language learners. So, you know, their student connection is a little bit more challenging. They have a school within a school, and I would say at least a third or if not half of the schools because of language issues. But it was really great to hear from super energized. I would say 2 of those students probably run for office someday. Yeah, I mean, you know the type, right? But they're very particular, and the gal that runs it, the director, one of the assistant superintendents there, she chooses students from all walks of life. So it's not just the high performers, right? It's a balance, which is something they learn. But that was really interesting to me. And the second most interesting was a presentation from Ferndale. They took to heart, they did like an administrative book reading. It's called Street Data. So they have 3 people to tackle data all day long. And I know here we have, depending on what the initiative is, it's always somebody a little different. But it was really interesting to hear their approach to data on a district that's not quite as large as ours, but some interesting things came from that. There were 27 classes offered. I took 5, and I got to tell you, I've had a large number of classes. I signed up for 5 thinking these are numbers that have never shown up in a long time, or they haven't shown up in a long time. I thought 3 or 4 would get canceled. That's usually what happens. I got all 5, so I had to be paid for it, so I stayed until Sunday at 3:30. But they're all good classes, and the networking obviously is really great. So sat with a lot of new board members, in particular from Howell and Lincoln, which is just outside of Ypsi. I don't know why, but we were in 4 of the 5 classes together, which was interesting. But I do want to point out the next item, the legal workshop. That's back to school legal workshop. It's one of my favorite classes. This year it's virtual, so you'll find another one in the spring, and it's also a focus at the annual conference. But that's coming up on Thursday, and you can still sign up for it. It's 8:30 to 12, so it's not all day, but it is during the day. And if you do sign up, you do have access to the materials afterwards if you're unable to get out. But I do recommend that. They do have a whole section on para, which is all the legal changes now to the prohibited items of bargaining that have been changed a great deal. So that is a line item on there, and that will probably take up a pretty good chunk. And the signups for that are a lot more than they usually get, so I think para is probably one of those. And if you're not able to do that in November for the annual conference, that's in Lansing, November 9th through 12th. It's at the Lansing Center. And they do have a whole, I would call it a keynote on para. So I don't remember which day that is, but they have a whole breakout on that. So if you're unable to do that, it's just over in Lansing. Again, November 9th through 12th. Now, Jody will be sending out, we do need to submit our delegates to the delegate assembly, which is Thursday evening. So I do plan to go to that. I don't know how many other things I'll be able to go to, but I do intend to go on Friday as well. I have another wedding to pay for this time. And I'm not sure, once my home committee finds out how much I want to be gone in Lansing, I don't know if that'll occur. But I do encourage you, there's a couple good keynotes. They have two gentlemen that wrote a book basically applying Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And for those of you my age or greater, you recall with fondness how that worked. And they've actually written a book and have actually applied it to some classrooms. So those two gentlemen will be speaking in the morning. There's a gentleman talking on effective leadership who seems, like most speakers, very bubbly and engaging. And then they'll have a student panel, another one on Saturday. I don't know where the students are from, but if it's anything like the one Dr. Matthews and I attended at Grand Valley that had Kent County students, it was certainly well worth the effort, but that is on Saturday. So all that to say, you do have time to sign up, and Jody is always available to do that for you. If you intend on staying the night, I think the room rate's $150 a night. And it's at the Lansing Center, so it's just across. There's a walkway from the hotel. So that's it. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thanks, Nick. Any questions for Nick about those?
There are
two
no
topics?
tests involved in these classes, so you should be aware of that.
And you were saying there's a virtual session that's this Thursday.
Yeah, that's the back to school legal workshop.
Yeah.
And
I'll be there.
most of the items they cover year after year, because these are long cases that have making their way either through state Supreme Court, circuit court, or federal court, or even those legal changes from the legislature, and that's why para is one of the topics. But if you do sign up, you do get access to the materials
Yeah, so I was
afterwards.
thinking,
And if not, I can share those with you if you sign up and for some reason it doesn't work out. But
okay.
I'll still post the materials, that's allowed, but it's Thursday the 17th.
Okay.
Oh, one last thing, for the newbies, evaluation training on superintendent evaluation. It's a state law, it's in school code that you have to be trained to participate in the evaluation. I did the research for you. I'll send all this in an email to you all, but these are virtual, September 6th, 6 p.m. to 8:30, and October 3rd, 6 p.m. to 8:30. So I believe Christy, Tricia, and Barb probably will need to take that. It's an hour and a half. It's fairly straightforward, but it is required.
Yeah, good reminder. Yeah, appreciate that. Good.
That's it.
Thanks, Nick. Any other questions or comments, sir?
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'll be on Thursday morning too with you, and if anybody else has the time, they can enroll, but otherwise we'll make sure we get the material posted, so take a look at it. Yep. Okay, that's it for reports. We're on to recognition of visitors and hearing
Point of
people.
order, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Point of order, please.
You can state point of order.
I don't have to say point of order?
No, I said you can state your point of order.
So my point of order is, I apologize for being 2 minutes late. This has got to be a record, Guinness Book of Record for getting through the agenda here quickly. I sent an email to all of you, and it's my opinion that the FOIA appeal, item number 6, did not belong on the consent agenda. It's not everyday business, and it's not, I think it's something that should have a lot of discussion. So I was going to ask to have that, I actually did ask in an email to have that taken out of the consent agenda so that we could have further discussion. So I guess I missed that. Is there anything I can do about that?
No, not at this point. It's, the agenda was approved.
Because that was about the pornography in the schools, correct?
So your point of order is heard and
correct?
denied, and because that was handled, the agenda was approved by the board, the consent agenda items were approved by the board.
Did you start the meeting early?
Nope.
No, sorry.
5:30 on the
Well,
dot,
2
same as
minutes.
always.
You guys
so-
did a lot in 2 minutes. Very impressive.
Point-
I don't think we
Interesting.
sped through it at all.
Not really. So
2 minutes. It was-
we're going to move on to hearing of our people present. We have several folks signed up to speak tonight. I failed to print my usual statement, and I don't have it memorized. So I would just say that we welcome input and feedback from Rockford community members. We hope to hear about topics that are relevant to Rockford Public Schools, and we ask that you be respectful in your comments. We ask that you limit yourself to 3 minutes so that everybody has the same amount of time and so that we can accommodate as many people as possible. I think that's the gist of what I usually
But also, this
do.
is not the only way to comment.
Thank you. Yep, this is not the only way that we hear from stakeholders. There's a whole host of ways that happens. And of course, if you have questions or feedback at any other point, you can always give the superintendent's office a call as one of those other ways. So thank you for that.
Perfect.
So, all right, so with that said, and next time I'll print it so I don't have to try to remember it. Up first is Dwayne Gritter. Is Dwayne here? We got to take you in the order that you signed up. So if you'd like to speak now, now's your turn. And otherwise, we're going to move down the list. Sorry? It's the way we always do it, sir. So 3 minutes. Go ahead. You're up.
You wanted to sign up, thank you. So, this board should be aware of the fact that, again, like I pointed out in the past, you guys have hundreds of pages in policy saying how you want to work with the community, taxpayers, and parents, and so on. Yet, when I ask for information from this board and from the finance department in reference to the upcoming millage, I'm being told I'm denied. So, I do understand I have an appeal process, which I am considering with my attorney, and I may challenge that, because what they've told me, your admins have told me, the information does not exist for the upcoming millage that I requested, which is, where are the revenues, what are they, what are they going to be used for? Those 3 questions. The reason why I asked, and why they tell me they denied, which is wrong, is because they've already presented to the Board of Elections in Kent County the wording that's going to go into the ballot. So if they've done that, they must know where the money's coming from, they must know what they're going to be using it for, and yet they tell me they don't. So that's been denied. Second FOIA, again, trying to work with the community, I said, give me the information from last year's millage. Same millage, it's just a renewal. You must have that information available, you've been collecting for years. 5 days later, they answered me, it's legal, 5 days. They said, we need 10 more days to get back to you. I said, okay, that's fine, that's legal as well. They can take up to 15 days. So today was the 15th day, I got a response. Guess what? It's going to take them, they estimated, it's going to take them 2 hours to find the information for me. 2 hours. I don't know how they figured that out unless they've already found the information. But anyway, it's going to take them 2 hours. They're going to charge me $120 an hour, $240 total to get that information from them. And yet, they're going to make me wait 20 business days to get that information. That's also within the law, I believe. I don't know, I haven't checked that out yet. But they have the information, otherwise they wouldn't know how long it's going to take them to find the information. 2 hours, $240, and yet I've got to wait till September 15th to get my answer. So that's how much your administration wants to work with the people in the community. The board should be taking interest in this. I don't think you guys understand throughout your policies, it says you're going to work with the community, and yet the community is asking you legally, fairly, in emails, recorded information, which I'm willing to share with any of you, and yet you guys are denying that information on the first hand, and the second hand, you're going to make me wait some 20 additional days when you have the information already. It's pretty sad.
Okay, next, we'll reset the clock here, is Lynn Blakesley. Is Lynn here?
Rockford School Board members and administrators, I come to you with a heavy heart regarding many issues, only a few I will bring up tonight. I am in the middle of 5, soon to be 6 generations that have attended Rockford Public Schools. My grandparents, my husband and my parents, my husband, our 4 children, our 12 grandchildren, and soon to be great-grandchild. 4 years, she'll be attending kindergarten. The ones that have gone before us would be appalled to know what is going on in the school right now. Graphic illustrations of pornography made available and advertised by billboards to students. Progressive indoctrination of children, shifting school culture, brainwashing, desensitization, and neglecting the conservative values that we hold dear, just to name a few. Our teachers and staff are academic educators and mandated reporters, not mandated diagnostics or mandated facilitators of treatments. Do not adopt programs and instruct teachers to leave their lanes. I have been to many graduations, and each class has been declared the smartest class ever. While this is very complimentary to all watching their loved ones receive a diploma, it just does not seem feasible that the next class is always smarter. Something does not add up with this continuous statement. I've not spoken before because it seems that it all goes on deaf ears anyway. You wonder why some raise their voices when addressing you. It's because you are not listening. You continue to move to negatively affect our future generations, and you expect us to roll over and be happy about it. Tonight, I'm also bringing to your attention my desire for an email advisory of those of us interested in being notified of pop-up or emergency board meetings, so we don't have to check the website every day, and this, I believe, is a reasonable request. Please advise when this can be implemented. At this time, I would like to publicly give a special thank you to Barb Helms for having the courage to stand up to this board by yourself. We are with you and behind you. I yield my remaining time to someone who did not sign up before, if that's allowable.
We don't, so you can use the remainder of your time. We'll move on to the next speaker.
This is, again, a very deliberate muzzling of the public, I believe. I would close and ask God to bless and protect all of our students and our teachers for the coming year. Thank you for your time.
Okay, up next is Brenda Wadarski.
First of all, I want to say how disgusted I am at all these board members that don't understand the usual consent agenda. A FOIA regarding porn books is on a usual consent agenda. Since when? Since when? I have never seen such a disgrace just sit there for a FOIA. Are you guys all aware of what is going on? Do you talk to your kids? Do you talk to your kids? I don't get it. I mean, my Lord, your children are a gift from God. Talk to them. See what's going on in these schools. See what's going on, how they have the Pledge of Allegiance different at the sports than they do before school. Why? Why is the Pledge of Allegiance introduced differently at a sports game than it is before school? That doesn't make sense. I hope all you guys seen the Becky Pringle, the NEA, the National Education Association. Oh, she was just amazing when she did her speech this summer. How sick. Our world is becoming a pagan culture if it isn't already fully there. And you guys, some of you were elected and some of you were not. And come to find, I want to know how many of you guys approve of English teachers mandating an assignment. Say your name and your pronoun afterwards. Kids at Rockford intimidated to stand up, give their name and their pronoun. I'll give you a second chance because you didn't. Children refused to give their pronoun and sent down to the office for discipline. They're told they're going to fail an assignment if they don't give their pronoun at Rockford? Are you kidding me? Some kids are intimidated by their grades. Some kids will do it because they want to get the A. You're telling our kids, our English department, to stand up and give their name and their pronouns? What kind of a world is this? You were elected to stand up for our kids, and you're sitting on your hands. You guys better be aware of the code MCL 722-674-6, because it applies to all the board members, administrators, and teachers responsible for not standing up for our kids. So maybe you guys better do a little bit of research, because it's all out there. Go into the classrooms. Go into the classrooms. Teachers, counselors, whatever, should not be opening up their phones and showing pictures of their personal life, going around, including the cafeteria too. Disgusting. Shameful.
Okay, up next is Charles Curtis. We'll get the clock set for you, Charles.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Kind of to go along with that, most people look at the role of public schools as an extension of our families, enforcing and affirming parental values and ideals and the authority of the family while giving their children the fundamentals of education, science, math, English. But in the minds of the educational elite, this is not the case anymore. Public education has evolved not to educate primarily, but to engage in social engineering. And that's what seems to be happening. And this divides and separates children from the values and beliefs of their family systems. And it happens so slowly and surreptitiously that it's hard to detect. This is a Marxist concept. Destroy the past to build what is conceived as a better future. They don't want parents in the way with old-fashioned ideas. And this is what Brendan was talking about, parents being in the way. You tend to act as if parents are in the way and that are not contributing. And they want children to be in charge of their own lives, and they want educators to be the ones to influence their thinking and behavior. I want to give you an example of this in your own policies regarding library book usage. You have a document called Parent Involvement in Student Library Usage that makes it sound as if parents might have some control. It says, quote, students may log into their Destiny account at any time and show parents what books are currently checked out. Note that the Destiny account is the student's account that parents are unable to log into except for with permission of their child. And it only reveals what is currently checked out. This puts students in charge, not the parent. It is written to make it appear as if there's parental controls. But in all reality, this is helping to create an environment for child insurrection and separation. Parents should always have access to their child's library information and never have it solely in the hands of their child. The policy also states to parents that, quote, if you would like specific book titles restricted from your child's access to let us know. Think about this. How is a parent supposed to know what books to restrict unless their child and the parent have already seen the book and its contents? The damage has already been done to the student, and the goal of exposing children to age-inappropriate sexualized materials has been achieved without the parent able to prevent it. And that is the goal of some. Rockford needs a school board that will ensure quality education without the indoctrination that is so often contrary to parental values.
Okay, up next is Emily Whalen. We'll get the clock set for you. Is Emily here? Yep, go ahead, Emily.
Hello, everyone. My name's Emily. I have a second grader at Meadow Ridge. Being a single parent who works full-time, it's been very challenging for me to come here, especially when my son has karate on Monday evenings. However, I felt it was important that you hear from my demographic, especially periodically, so I plan on seeing your faces many times as he's only in second grade. I was here in May, but I was unable to speak to everyone. I did express my concerns to the president about the school year's academic calendar, and I hope he relayed them all to you. I have received insights into the professional development plan that added 1 PD day a month, explaining additional daycare was going to be provided, and my concerns would be shared with the staff who are creating the 24-25 calendar. I wanted to express these concerns in person, however. My biggest concern is consistency in our children's learning environments and schedules. I believe in-class learning should be #1 focus, especially after the pandemic. Last year, the district had 23 full weeks planned. However, due to snow days and 2 district-wide closings for sporting events, we had 19. This year, the calendar only has 15 full weeks of school, with early releases going from 8 to 18. When I expressed this, I was told that the concept of consistency and routine being key in child development and creating an effective learning environment was unheard of. I have a lot more, but I can see I only have a minute, so I want to address the following dates that don't make any sense with the reasoning that I was given. November 29th is the third early release in November. With Thanksgiving, there's no full weeks of school in November. January 10th is the third day back to school after spring break. So I asked, how are kids supposed to get back into routine? And what is there to collaborate on when they've only been in school for 2.5 days? February 14th is an early release, and then there's no school on the 16th. This is back-to-back deviations in their schedule. It causes disruptions in learning and their home lives. February 28th and March 1st make for 2 early releases in 1 week. Again, back-to-back deviations in schedule. March 27th is the day before spring break. So the argument that teachers can adjust learning the next day is a moot point, and it could be argued that this would be the same as having early releases on Fridays instead of Wednesdays. April 10th is the third day back to school after spring break. So you get 1 day of spring break and the day 2.5 days after. Again, there's no collaboration after 2.5 days. I do have a petition here signed by over 350 parents and staff that I would like to present. Thank you.
Next on the list is Craig Ladyman. Is Craig here? Don't see him. Okay. Next is Connie Molders. Is Connie here?
Hello. I need to also express my disappointment in how Rockford is spending my tax money on a lawyer that is fighting to keep inappropriate books in the school libraries. I don't know if you know that, but the lawyer is fighting the FOIA that a group has presented to get the books out, and they're saying, Rockford's saying, no, we want those books in the libraries, and they have a lawyer. These books contain words and images that are considered harmful to minors, sexually explicit words that you don't want to have read aloud, or images you certainly don't want to see in this room. An all-encompassing ban on these books is not what I support. I just will never buy or support them. But you're not giving me that chance. You are using my tax dollars to buy these books for public school and also paying a lawyer to fight to keep them in the school. Shame on you, Rockford.
Up next is Carla Wagner. Is Carla here?
My name is Carla Wagner, and I'm going to stay back here. I kind of want to address these folks over here. I'm going to talk about the Parks and Rec millage that's going to be coming up on the November ballot as well. I checked with Kent County, and they said the proposal reads that it is for the purpose of operating a system of public recreation and playgrounds. So I'm kind of wondering why we're doing that through the school, unless it is, of course, for playgrounds. But the millage is it's going to net them about $2.5 million a year. They're asking for it to be for 20 years. This is an extension of a current and existing Parks and Recs millage for Rockford Public Schools. So on a home of a taxable value of $200,000, it's about $200 a year. So what I want you to think about is, number one, we have, 7 or 8 elementary schools here. So if it's for playground equipment for those elementary schools, I'm not sure, but $2.5 million a year for 20 years sounds like a lot of playground equipment. If it's for community ed, which we were told by someone else that it's for community ed, well, we pay for community ed programs when we sign up. So I'm kind of really questioning the validity and the reason for the Parks and Recs millage at all, because we also have a building and sites millage for Rockford Public Schools, so I would think playground equipment would maybe be covered under that. But even a more important number I want you guys to think about and remember is last year alone in the state of Michigan, we had almost 185,000 privately owned Michigan properties enter into a tax lien seizure process, not a mortgage. These properties did not have a mortgage anymore. It's a tax lien. So when you're gonna put 185,000 people out of their homes, I'm questioning, is this $200 on a $200,000 home for a Parks and Recs millage? Is it really necessary? And is it your neighbor or you or your parents or your son that's gonna be booted out of their house because they can't afford to pay that bill?
Okay, and last on the list here is Andrea Jacobson.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Matthews, Central Office staff. One of the reasons our family moved to Rockford was for the schools, and we wanted our future children to have access to not only a high-quality education, but to be part of a more diverse student body than what we had grown up with. We found what we were looking for in Rockford. I'd like to thank the administration for continuing Rockford's work with professional learning communities. Rockford is not unique in using PLCs, and they are proven to be effective when well implemented. Providing specific time to our teachers to support their collaboration and the development and refinement of curriculum ensures that all of our students continue to receive a high-quality education and the tools they need to succeed in life. In addition to providing an academic education, part of the RPS mission is to ensure students are equipped with social skills so that they can be successful in a global society. The world is full of unique people with wide-ranging backgrounds, religious beliefs, economic situations, and more. Those unique traits are reflected in the families who live in our community and the students who attend our schools. We appreciate Rockford's continued work to provide a safe and inclusive environment for all students and where we can have respectful spaces for everyone. Lastly, thank you for continuing to listen to parents and taking our comments into consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Andrea. That's it for visitors, and next on the agenda is superintendent remarks. Dr. Matthews?
Thank you, Mr. Folsom. So in regards to the Parks and Rec millage, it does support recreational activities within our community. It also supports the percentage of time that our playgrounds and our schools are used outside of the regular school day and on weekends, for example. And so we know where and how much our Parks and Rec millage brings to the district. However, it's not in one spreadsheet that we can pull up easily. It's spread over multiple accounts, and it would take time to create that information. And so we'll, in September, we're sharing more detailed information about the Parks and Recreation millage with the community. And we look forward to Mr. Cuneo and myself sharing that information in September with the community. The new school calendar that was approved in March was designed to provide our staff with opportunities to improve instructional strategies by discussing what is working and what is not. And this will be beneficial to our students and to our teaching staff. As was mentioned this evening, we have increased the number of early release days in our school calendar to allow our teachers more time to collaborate to improve instruction. And as we presented the calendar in March and shared it with our community, we have really stressed with our building administrators the need to use this time well, and it needs to show impact throughout the year. And as we work to implement this calendar this year, we will evaluate its effectiveness and its impact on families and review as we work with our teachers in the spring to identify what our calendar will look like next year. We're excited to start school Monday, August 21st, which is 1 week from today. I'm sure there will be some hiccups as you look at the roads in the city of Rockford. Getting into North Middle School, we're hopeful to send out a plan to all of our parents at North Rockford Middle School on Friday. But we have tried to address that concern and the other concerns that we're aware of. But we're sure that there will be hiccups on that first day, but we're looking forward to the start of school next Monday. Tomorrow, August 15th, is our day that all of our professional staff return, and we're looking forward to seeing them and getting our school year started. And they will have a welcome in the morning, and then they will have a day and a half of professional development together in which they can prepare for the school year. And our elementaries will have their curriculum nights on Wednesday night for students and families to come to the building. So we're looking forward to that as well. That's my report this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Matthews, and with that, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.